In a time where there was no time, in a place there was only eternity, lived a man named God, creator of the entire universe. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and it was. He separated the sky from the sea, and it was. He made the land and all kinds of plants and trees, and someone said, "That's fantastic." Then he ripped out the sun, the moon, and the stars, and then the fish in the sea, and the birds in the air, plus all the wild animals. And when things couldn't get any better, he created humans in his own image. He blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply." He gave them rain over all the plants and wildlife. And on the seventh day, God rested. Meanwhile, in paradise, two lovers are forbidden to eat.
The tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
It's got sort of a knowledge-y taste.
Yeah, does it have a sort of forbidden taste? Because that's what it is.
The serpent had deceived them. They hid from God because they were scared. They felt naked and ashamed.
Oh my God!
Don't look down.
So when God punished Satan, he wasn't joking. He said he would strike your head and he would strike his feet. And man was banished from the garden to the earth. And so history wouldn't repeat itself, God placed a cherubim with a flaming sword to guard the tree of life.
I never got a sword. I only got the holder. I didn't know that's what it was for.
But because humanity went their own way, God was sorry he ever created them. So he started again.
Is it too much to ask for a little precipitation?
By sending a flood. Only Noah and his family was saved, and they danced with joy. God promised to never flood earth again, but people still turned away. They built a tower to reach the gods. God said this was
Not okay.
No, is that God? That's the voice of God.
so he confused the people with different languages.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
You.
Yes?
Not you, him. What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you.
I am me. It's me. And I'm you.
And I'm about to whoop your old.
Second to me, yeah.
No.
Second a box.
Bitácora espacial.
And scattered them all over the world.
What the hell these Chinese have to move in this neighborhood for?
They said farewell. And then there was Abraham, a peaceful family man and loyal to God.
To peace.
He promised to bless Abraham and give him many descendants. And to him and his barren wife, a small child called Isaac. It's a tale of Isaac nearly sacrificed, and his son Jacob stealing his brother's blessing. When Jacob grew up, his 12 sons became the 12 tribes of Israel. He gave his favorite son Joseph a beautiful robe, making his brothers very jealous. So they sold him
Come on, let's see how much we're going for on eBay.
into slavery.
I need to go be a slave now.
We should do something. When do you get off?
Never.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Then he rose up and became ruler of Egypt.
Can you dig it?
Over time, the Egyptians made Israelites their slaves. And God called Moses from a burning bush and reminded him of that day forever. God asked Moses to lead his people, and Moses said,
Can't be done. We don't have the manpower, time, or a way.
Moses tried all kinds of tactics to persuade Pharaoh. The tape, the slap, the Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson? This is my favorite part coming up right now.
How'd that feel, Gilmore Girl?
And to shove his head up his.
If you don't move, your head is going up his.
But Pharaoh's response was,
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Declined. Can you try again? Really declined.
Oh, that doesn't work at all.
So God warned Pharaoh with plagues of blood, hail, insects, frogs, locusts, cattle, darkness and the Passover of the firstborn.
Whose baby is that?
Check its collar or something.
Pharaoh couldn't take it anymore, so he let the Israelites go. And they all said,
Oh, I'm so happy! I'm so happy! This is the best day of my life!
so they fled through the Red Sea towards the Promised Land. Then, on a high mountaintop, God laid down the law to Moses. 1. Don't worship other gods. 2. Don't make idols.
Tastes good.
3. Don't misuse God's name. 4. Keep the Sabbath day holy. 5. Obey your parents. 6. Don't murder. 7. Don't commit adultery.
What in the name of Siegfried and Roy are you fellas doing?
Don't ask. Don't tell.
8. Don't steal.
I put the quarter in the slot.
Looks like he's smuggling a schnauzer.
9. Don't lie.
Not the blah blah blah. I never lie.
10. Don't covet.
Gucci boots! I saw him first.
Give it to me!
Meanwhile, the people of Israel had built a golden calf to worship, so God vowed to destroy them. Moses cried out to God, so God spared his people for now. 12 spies were then sent out to explore the Promised Land. 40 days later, they returned, afraid. The Israelites complained.
I'm in the middle of the desert. I'm not gonna be okay.
Bob, you're in shock. If you panic, your heart's gonna stop.
Is that supposed to calm me down?
And became hysterical.
Hold on, this is no time to be hysterical.
It's the perfect time to be hysterical.
Should we be hysterical? Ow!
Yes!
Maybe!
So because of their unbelief, God banished them into the wilderness for 40 years. Soon after Moses died, Joshua sent 2 spies across the Jordan River to scout the land. A prostitute named Rahab gave them protection there.
You know what this is? It's a wing, and you're under it. All 3 of you, right there.
This is very disturbing.
God was with them, and so they went where no Israelite had been before, the Promised Land. Then with 7 days marching around Jericho, the city walls came crashing down. This was the beginning of conquering the Promised Land. It was also Israel's downward spiral into the vicious cycle of sin, suffering, repentance, deliverance, and back around to sin again. They ignored God and worshipped idols instead.
It's more fun when you raise your arms like this.
So God turned them over to their enemies. Only a God-given judge could save them now. The judges warned the people of their actions.
What did you do? Oh! I know, that was bad.
But Israel wanted more. They wanted a king. Their last judge, Samuel, who was excellent at ping pong,
Or, as the Chinese say, ping pong,
warned them that a king's rule would be harsh, unjust, destructive. But they didn't care.
The wait is over. Oh, crap.
They wanted to be a nation like everyone else.
Oh! Yeah, wow.
So Saul became the first king of Israel, but his pride led him astray. When a shepherd boy killed Goliath, the people were ecstatic, and Saul became jealous.
Look past the flesh and see your enemy.
David loved God and became king when Saul died, but one lustful night, David fell for Bathsheba.
Hey, baby, check out the gun show going on over here. Boom, boom, firepower.
But David humbled himself before God.
I feel all exposed and nasty.
You deserve better from me. I will be better.
The third king of Israel was Solomon. He requested wisdom, but his wicked weakness for women won him over.
Let's split up. I'll take the women.
Even after building the temple and writing wisdom literature,
I'm possibly more or less not definitely rejecting the idea that I undeniably do or do not know where he should probably be.
he eventually turned away from God. Then, during the reign of Solomon's son, King Rehoboam, Israel split in two.
Go this way, and I'll go that way.
Jeroboam rose up against the king and and with him went 10 tribes of Israel.
You better get out of here.
I'm going. I'm gonna start a new tribe. It's gonna be 10 times better. It's gonna be called Muscle Tribe of Danger and Excellence. So who's with me?
Oh, shooting star. That's the best.
The other 2 tribes went south with Rehoboam, calling themselves Judah. 242 years later, the king of Syria invaded the north and exiled all of Israel.
Here's the money shot.
This was the time of the prophets. The Assyrian king then scattered Israel with people from other towns and sent them all to Samaria. The king of Babylon then invaded Judah and took them captive, gouging out the eyes of Judah's last king. The people said,
"Some of us might not make it back."
What do you mean? Like, not on the same flight?
But Jeremiah, the prophesying prophet, prophesied that after 70 years they would return. And when they did, Ezra the priest and a few others rebuilt the altar, acknowledging God. Jesus, coming soon. And now, get the soundtrack to own history and sing along to your favorite Bible stories, like creation,
the sun, moon, and stars go on day 5. The birds and fishes are alive day 6. The end.
fall,
They fell into sin. Couldn't wipe
and law.
Israel. You'll break your shackles if you live my way.
Available at no good music stores.